talk about the SmackDown women's division and what is missing. And I'm not saying that in a negative way towards women at all, because I think all the women on the roster are extremely talented, especially like in terms of being a professional sports entertainer and a wrestler, knocking it out of the park. But for me, when I watch, Raw or even NXT, there's a big difference when we go to SmackDown. And I kind of want to just boom, boom, boom down the list. So we're going to start with Giulia. I love Giulia. Now, I got introduced to Giulia, I'll say in a full-time way when she debuted in NXT. That's kind of that was honestly my introduction to Giulia. I have gone back and watched some of her other matches and things she's done, in New Japan, and that made me like her even more. Now, the issue is, Giulia is the United States champion, and although I love Giulia, I don't necessarily love the booking with Giulia. I believe that Giulia should be way more vicious than she already is, and she has her tendencies where she is for sure, but I feel like we need to up it up a lot of notches. And, one thing in particular that really I think bothers me is like, I feel like a lot of people kind of come at Giulia and say she's boring and she's this and she's that, and they don't like her as champion. And it's like, Giulia's great. A lot of it to me with her is just the booking. She fought Michin for a minute. She even had the feud with Zelina. But I think what's missing with her booking, I feel like Giulia needs to face a very like super big baby face, and it could possibly be Michin again or something else, but I feel like Giulia is missing the aspect of having an actual rivalry, and it's like we got rivalries in a sense with Zelina and Michin, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of depth to those rivalries. It was just like, oh, you hit me last week, we're gonna fight next week. It's not actual things happening. Like other rivalries, it's like things are getting personal, or this is happening, or that's happening, or things are getting crazy. Like Drew and Cody, for example. It's like they're all over the place, you know what I mean? It's like we're taking personal shots, I'm interrupting, matches. Like, it's a lot going on. And I feel like in booking Giulia needs to be booked as a very vicious heel. And initially adding Kiana James with her, I like the idea of it, because I just think it's a good way to kind of put them together, in a sense of a lot of people aren't familiar with Kiana James either. And it's like you attach her to Giulia, it's like they're both kind of getting more TV time in a sense in that way. Because if we're being honest, I know Kiana's kind of there as a mouthpiece for Giulia, but I like the idea of people speaking like their native language, like, like how Asuka, Io Sky do. I like the way how they just like flip back and forth. It's just like, I'm talking English, I'm talking Japanese, no idea what they're saying, but I love the fact that they're able to do that now, because I feel like there was a time where that wasn't really happening as much. So I have no problem if we did do, Giulia without Kiana James, and Giulia is able to just speak how she wants to. But I just wish she was booked in actual feuds that had like more depth to them and more things happening. And I think if she was booked very, very viciously, something she has done has been vicious, but I think we could up it up a few notches. I think we would have something going there. I think another problem is just also the United States Championship booking, period. It's always been kind of like, iffy. Even Chelsea Green holding the title, I think for me, that was kind of the most entertaining one, I'll say. But I think Chelsea Green is great, and I think just her personality and what she can bring to the table alone, I feel like she always delivers for me. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of upset when she lost the title. I knew she would have to. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, like, Zelina's her first title, so I was happy for Zelina, but I just love Chelsea so much, and Chelsea's so entertaining. I was kind of like, man, but nonetheless, I just want Giulia to be booked a bit more vicious and to have like a legit rivalry. And even, the booking with Michin, I was kind of like, I thought maybe Michin would get the title. I wouldn't have minded that, if I'm being honest at all, because I think she's also another person that's kind of like, I'll say underrated, and she's not really like used, in my opinion, in the capacity that she could be. I feel like she could have won the United States Championship. I don't think it would have been an issue at all, for a lot of people. But, you know, maybe her time will come one day. Next topic. It's Tiffy time. Now, I like Tiffany Stratton a lot. I really do. I think she's great in the ring. I will say, for me, I like Tiffany better as a heel. I think as a babyface, she's not bad at all. But I think as a heel, I feel like it's more natural. I feel like she fits naturally as a heel. And I feel like the character gimmick she has as a heel would be so entertaining. And, you know, she's done it before. And I think to me, her gimmick's more entertaining as being a heel. Now, my thing with Tiffany is the Jade Cargill stuff, right? It's just been her whole title reign, really, you know, the last few months, it's just been Jade Cargill. Or, you know, there's a point where we throw in Nia Jax. And after a while, it gets kind of like stale for me, because I'm just watching the same thing. And even though, you know, it's happening at a different pay-per-view, or, oh, this happened and now this is happening, but with the same person, it gets old after a while. You know, we have Jade Cargill fighting Tiffany Stratton, and Jade's a heel now, which I think was a good idea, because I think Jade's another person that fits better as a heel. And I think there's a lot of things with that where there's certain people you can just watch and tell they fit better in a certain capacity than their characters in right now. So there's a lot of times, you know, you may be watching things and it's just like, that would have cooked if they were bad, because I do that a lot, especially with SmackDown. But I think the idea of turning Jade into a heel was brilliant. I feel like Jade should have just been a heel, period. But I kind of wonder sometimes if maybe the plan was to do Bianca and Jade, and it just didn't pan out maybe how they wanted things to. So we've been shifting dynamics. But if I'm being so honest, I'm so tired of seeing Jade fight Tiffany. I feel like after a while, it's like certain things like that, when they go on for a long time, I would want a title change, you know, something to keep me interested. Because when you do these matches of building, I'll go into that. When you build someone like Jade up the way they have, right? You know, she won Queen of the Ring. She's going to SummerSlam. And I feel like the way things were built up with her, you would expected her to win at SummerSlam. Because I can tell you right now, I thought she was. And then she didn't. And I was like, okay. And, you know, usually something like that, it's like, okay, the feud's over. But it wasn't over. It just kept happening. And here we are now. Jade's heel. She's getting another title opportunity. And that title opportunity that she's getting, I don't necessarily think she's going to win again. If I'm being honest, I think Tiffany will win. And then Jade's going to just go ballistic, maybe, if anything. But I just wish that Tiffany was also fighting different people. But then it's also, that's a thing of like, well, who else is there, you know? And I would love if we got some NXT call-ups. Even the gimmick with Kiana James and Giulia, how they go around giving people business cards. I think that would be brilliant for an NXT woman that's a heel to come up. Or, you know, it's like, oh, I'm new to SmackDown, and, you know, you have no friends, you don't know anybody type of thing. And then here comes Kiana James and Giulia. Hey, here's our card. Da, 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 da. And then you maybe create some type of faction or group with that. And then I feel like that also helps build up the woman that came in as well. Because, again, TV time, you're able to showcase things. And eventually, you know, every great faction or feud splits up, which would happen. So then you have something going on with that. But I would love a Jordynne Grace coming to SmackDown. She is somebody I really don't even think she should have went to NXT. I never really understood that in the first place. I still don't. Especially her being there, she's not had a belt yet. I'm always surprised by that, because it's like, this is Jordynne Grace. Unless maybe that's what she wants to do. Maybe she's deciding to be in NXT right now. You know, I have seen things saying like something, her husband is closer or something with that. I don't know if it's true or not, but, you know, if that's her decision, cool. Like, I pray everything works out with whatever, you know, she does have going on, if that's the case. But I would love her to come to SmackDown. And also, my sweet dear EST. For me, I think that's really what's missing. I I miss her so much. Like, her presence is just needed on SmackDown. And I kind of at times wonder if the plan was to do Tiffany and Bianca, or obviously we're going to get Jade and Bianca. I always wonder if the plan was to do something, but Bianca got hurt at WrestleMania, so now we're getting what we're getting, maybe. I do think down the road, and even right now, I will say, I wouldn't mind if Jade Cargill is a heel. She has a title, right? And then we get a return to Bianca Belair. Huge baby face, you know? And I think that storyline alone would be amazing because you have layers to it. And that's an example of something in depth. Like, you have the whole, like, we held the tag team championships, right? And then Naomi attacked me. You didn't really, do anything, because Jade and Bianca always seem like they have some type of tension. Like, there's something left unsaid. Jade knows something Bianca's not saying. Like, it's always tension. It's never the way you would think somebody would respond to seeing their best friend, after something like that happened with Naomi hurting her. Like, I had a whole theory even that, like, Bianca Belair was part of it. So, I don't know. But I also feel like a lot of the women just aren't utilizing the capacity I'd like. Even, Chelsea, back to her. I would love to see more with Chelsea Green. We kind of at times get Nikki Cross in the background with Giulia. But that's another thing for me. I feel like there's not as much consistency with that. Like, Nikki Cross might be in the background while Giulia's talking for like 2 weeks straight. And then it just stops. And it's just like, okay, let's do this again. And it stops. And it's like, I honestly would not mind if the Wyatt Six did have gold with everyone type of thing. Like, I think if Nikki Cross had that belt, United States Championship belt, I think it'd be great. Like, especially the character she is now. And I also would love to see more of just her as the character she is now. Like, aside from being just with the Wyatt Six, I want to see what else, her character does besides just kind of like standing there or like messing with her hair or whatever. I would like to see her in a wrestling match. And I would like to see her have a belt. And, even if she wants to talk, she doesn't want to talk, I want to see how far we could take this new mysterious character she has. Because Nikki Cross is also somebody to me too. I think she's really great at being like, I don't want to say spooky character, but maybe that's what it is. Because even in NXT, loved it. So I wouldn't mind if she held the United States Championship, took it off Giulia as well. Another thing for me, B-Fab. I am not crazy about B-Fab with the Street Profits. I don't think that B-Fab needs to be with the Street Profits at all. To me, the Street Profits can easily do their own promos. They don't need a mouthpiece. And I think doing that how it's been done kind of takes away from B-Fab being able to really, even showcase her stuff more. Because even, tag team title situation, you easily could have Michin and B-Fab be like the tag team champions. And I love Charlotte and Alexa together, don't get me wrong. But that's also a key element for me of what's missing. Those are two really big stars you're taking out of the title picture. And although Charlotte and Tiffany had their feud, Alexa and Tiffany have not. And I would like to see what that's like. So that's another thing. And also, it's like just Charlotte and Alexa feuding on SmackDown. That'd be great. Like, I low-key want them to break up so that they can feud, and then we have like a really big storyline for the women, because that storyline would be great. And I know what's going to happen. And I ultimately think that it's going to be Alexa turning on Charlotte. I don't know what capacity yet. But, I can't wait. And I would just love if the women... That's another thing, but it's just like overall. I would love if like we had more women's tag teams and they just had tag team titles on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. I don't like the idea necessarily of like just having them like with one pairing and they just travel. I feel like it would be better to have all shows like how the men do. And that's like a whole nother separate storyline you can do with stuff. But I have hope for the women's division. I do. I don't want to make it seem like I'm complaining or bashing them. Again, I think they're all amazing. It's just there's like a key noticeable difference when you're watching Raw, you're watching NXT, and then like SmackDown happens. SmackDown feels like it's just something missing at times with the women's division. And it's unfortunate because the roster is so stacked. And it's like there's so much potential with so many people, and there's so many, you know, I do a lot of like fantasy storylines or things I would like to see happen in my mind. So there's a lot of times I'm watching SmackDown and I'm like, oh, it would have been cool if they did this, or it would have been cool if they did that. But nonetheless, it'll get better. Especially when Bianca comes back, we're gonna cook. And, you know, that's another thing, Jade and Bianca, whenever that happens as well, goosebumps. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and bye. And also, if you want, let me know what you feel about the SmackDown Women's Division, or if you think something's missing, or am I crazy? And you're just like, no, it's great. Let me know. But thanks for watching. Bye.